Welcome in to a Clippers Talk After Dark. About to get real dark. We got some guests with you here. It's going to be a fun show. You guys can interact. I'm Adam Osland, and joining the show, two of the best. They came on with me about a month ago as I was going through all the different media members. They have the longest running Clippers podcast. Now, will I pass them by in episodes by the end of the season? Maybe at this rate. But the guys from ClipCast are here. It's Chris Wylde, Chris Wylde, and Henry Hank Dittman back on Clippers
what's
Talk.
up, Oz? Thanks for having us, buddy. It's great to be back so quickly.
Hey, we're back. We're back.
Complete with props and great backgrounds. I got to do better. I got a green screen coming later this week, so I don't know what I'm going to turn it into. I'll probably just be generically at the Intuit Dome like everybody else that does one.
Adam, when you put up your green screen, you should use as your background a white brick wall, and then you just
with a marker on it.
You can put up toot, toot, toot,
toot. I will try. People are already coming in here and saying it. SC said it. Toot toot. Oh, Sal said had to stop the clips and dip for the after dark.
Oh, you could have both. Why not both? One in each headphone.
Put them on at the same time. It's actually kind of like Dark Side of the Moon with Wizard of Oz. You can combine them like that. It's crazy.
That's right. They say that we are that of podcasts.
You know, the Wizard of Oz has a prequel musical film coming out, but more importantly, there's a Target commercial that ties into that film, starring a member of Clipper Nation, and it's on TV right now, folks.
People have been talking about this. Is
it's
it on
Clipper
YouTube
Daryl.
somewhere?
Yeah, I'll send you a link. But the nice thing was, Adam, it was on during the Dodgers game like 3 times as we head to the series, baby. Brooklyn versus Bronx. Forget about it.
I know
you're a Giants guy. I know you're a Giants guy.
There's really no good outcome to this for Giants fans. They still hate the Yankees from back in the day.
All the best teams started in New York, the Buffalo Braves and the Brooklyn Dodgers, and moved to Los Angeles, the LA Dodgers and the LA Clippers. Those are my 2 favorite teams, and I'm with my 2 favorite guys.
Oh, am I one of them?
You are. It's me and Henry.
I did it. I did it. Bunka Boys brings up a very good point. Chris, did you see this today that Hans Zimmer is composing the Clippers theme?
Big Z.
Dude, what? Like we couldn't get John Williams? We couldn't get John Williams? Oh, Big Z, that's right.
Hans Zimmer's better.
What a crumb bum.
Oh, scandalous take.
Hans Zimmer, the thinking man composer. Like, this guy was doing Dark Knight, Legends of the Fall. What's some of the other Hans Zimmer ones? Other stuff? Like, this guy is the guy.
He's the guy. Oh, he's the guy. It's him and John Williams on the Mount
thank
Rushmore.
you. The Hockey Shitbox is a Chris Wylde original. That is his own creation, and it is one of the best things to come out of
the Staples Center is called the Hockey Shitbox.
Yes.
The Intuit Dome is called the Ballmer Sports Access Center. No. Ballmer Sports Access Center, Hank. No, stop that. Stop that.
Balm sack.
No, Ballmer Sports Arena Complex is the other one. But no, stop that. Stop. It's a
I love
show.
with you guys. I can just wind you up and let it go. Like I could.
You don't even have to wind us up. You don't have to wind us up. We live like this.
Clip.
Everybody is joining for this now.
Adam, I don't know if I ever told you this, Adam. At a social gathering about a decade ago or so, a friend said to Chris and I, "Hey, why don't you do those characters where you guys are real excited about everything?"
Yeah,
we're like,
talk about going 82-0.
That's just who we are.
We're 82-0 in life.
You were the wild and crazy guys from SNL or whatever, that old sketch back in the day. Hey, Carl Tart is writing some of those episodes currently in the 50th season, which is cool.
That is super cool. Clipper Nation representing on the SNL writers staff. You love to see it.
If you guys want to get in for some questions here with the ClipCast guys, we got Henry Dittman, we got Chris Wylde. I have some things to ask you guys. This is kind of a season preview and a bit of a recap of what happened in the preseason, those two things tying in together. I want to start with this, though. We did get some news regarding Kawhi Leonard. Are you still hanging on every word when it comes to these updates, or is it just numb at this point?
No, did you think that was news?
I did not.
It's old.
No, I know you didn't, Adam. That wasn't news. We knew that. We knew that he wasn't practicing with the team. We knew that he has all this inflammation after never not having inflammation, including his chance at an Olympic medal. I just am not at all surprised by it, or frankly, all that.
I gotta be honest. I would have been surprised if he played in the Olympics. if he B, went to training camp and participated. C, if we saw him for a minute in preseason. D, if we saw him game one. I do think that this is part of a master plan to have him compete in the back 60 of the regular season and the playoffs. And I think he's going to sit out for the first 20. Don't quote me, but at least the first 10. You're not going to see Kawhi Leonard on the Clipper court.
I mean, there's 2 back-to-backs in the first 5 games, so it does seem like a scheduling issue right now for somebody that's had all these injury concerns. I did think it was a little bit of note that we actually found out there was a setback right after Team USA, which means this is probably the reason they're being so overly cautious right now. Even though Kawhi Leonard, it seems like, was talking about wanting to play, they said, we don't care if he's getting pissed off, basically. This is what we have to do, save him from himself. I don't know if you take that as encouraging at all, but I'm looking for any positives when it comes to this right now because I know how disappointing it is for Clipper Nation not to have him opening night at Intuit Dome.
It is disappointing. I mean, I think the positive I take away is that I liked what I saw in the preseason from our team. I thought that I'm looking right now at our Darius Sanders message, James Harden MVP, 38 points a game, 12 assists. I think we'll see higher assist totals from James Harden because we are such a dunk heavy team, such a lob heavy team. But honestly,
I
think,
wanted to say it. A lob what?
Lob City 2.0. Lob City 2.0. But I think you have to allow yourself to wrap your head around the fact that we need to build this team without Kawhi Leonard. I'm not saying that that's forever, but I think for all of our emotional well-being, we would be much better to not be continuing to look. When's he going to be back? He feels better. Is he come back? Is he come back for this? We made ourselves nuts last season.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely nuts last season with the hoping of it. Although the whole time any wise person knew we were not getting Kawhi Leonard back, and he came back hurt, and look what happened.
Well, I mean, I was hoping that they were shelving him intentionally, and that he was going to come back for the playoffs, and then so they did shelve him, and then he does come back for the playoffs. So we obviously saw what happened. So I just want to get Kawhi as close to 100% as possible because last season he gave us 68, and at least 60 of them were great. And that December and January were the 2 greatest months in franchise history. We are obviously the number 1 seed in February, the latest we've ever been the number 1 seed. And you got to be number 1 to win it all. So if the guy's not 100%, put him on the shelf. Get him upset. It doesn't matter. Get him where he needs to be. And then wherever we are in the season, wherever we are in the rankings, activate the dude and let's make a run.
Old Dirty Dasher says, do they bring him back even if we're out of contention? Well, if he's 100% and healthy and you're not risking exacerbating the injury, he's signed for 3 more seasons, guys. So I don't think they're just going to go, hey, sit out the rest of this year because we're not in contention. If he's healthy, if he actually has overcome this inflammation that's going on right now that Lawrence Frank has described as tricky.
100%. Also, what are we talking about in contention? Nowadays, isn't that 10 teams? I mean, like we could be in contention and be a 500 basketball team. I don't see us as a 20-win team. I understand there's a lot of people, sky is falling. I understand I saw a preseason game minus the 2 stars of the Mavs in person. That's the game I saw in person. But I like the pieces we have. I really genuinely do. If we had I don't want Kawhi Leonard to go away. I still want to see this experiment work. If we had lost him and Paul George and we were sitting on this team with James Harden and room to get another big name or big asset or 2 more before the trade deadline or now, I would not be devastated. I really like the pieces we have.
But isn't it a little bit nuts right now? Until we know Kawhi can actually have a sustained run of health, you can't go all in and trade more assets that you barely have.
Oh, no.
Guy.
No. I'm saying if we had lost Kawhi Leonard and we're going to go needing to replace him, I am not suggesting fleecing our future ever again to get more pieces around. That's nice, buddy. I'm not saying we should ever completely fleece our future again just in order to get more pieces.
Let me ask you. Just you guys can both jump in if you know the answer to this. How many times
69
has James Harden missed the playoffs in his career? How many times?
0. How many times has he made it when he's 35, though? Either.
How many losing seasons under 500 have the Clippers had with Steve Ballmer as the owner? How many seasons?
0.
Yeah. How many losses do we have in the Dome? How many losses do we have in the Dome? We're undefeated in the damn Dome.
We're undefeated. That's a
We're
good call.
Phoenix is also undefeated in the Dome, technically.
Ballmer is a winning owner, and
they also say they're from the Valley, and they're not.
Back-to-back seasons to prove it. Harden is the quarterback, man. He's Brett Favre. He is Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? Without the rings, obviously, but like he is the guy. He doesn't get injured. He doesn't have an injury problem because he's heavy and slow and he plays at his own pace, you know. And by the way, this is the thinnest we've seen him since he was a kid, for God's sake. Like, also he was on this team. We haven't seen him this thin. He was on this team.
To my point, by the way, Joe Rosenfeld is backing me up. Hustle stats are a key towards the playoff path. Last season, we were in the middle or towards the bottom of screen assists, deflections, loose balls, charges, and contested shots. This roster can change that. I just really think we have great young guys. We have exciting players. And by the way, thank you for the love on Boner Highway as a nickname for Bones Highland.
Hey, we saw Bones.
I do got.
I don't know if we do. I don't know if we do. Right. By the way,
this is nuts. That Mexican Nar said thoughts on Bones not extending. Assuming he doesn't get traded, will we match any offer or let him walk? Guys, I'm pretty sure they have tried to trade him and PJ Tucker multiple times by now. The only reason I think Bones is still on the roster is because there's a suspension looming for KPJ. If he gets suspended, they will need Bones, which is why we probably saw him starting that last preseason game. But he's not long for being a Clipper right now.
Yeah, I know. I love Bones Highland. I love all Clippers. I don't love someone whose offensive style is to hoist up threes and they're not a dead eye shooter. I don't love it. I love Bones. I love his energy, but he's not a true point guard to me.
Yeah,
he doesn't create shots. He doesn't create offense.
He's great. We don't know enough about him, and he's not going to get the opportunity to show it.
I love him. I'm just saying,
we have seen a lot of. I mean, we've seen Bones. We've seen Bones.
I like him, but
he's okay.
He's fine.
It's fine.
More of a runway than a highway. We haven't seen the full stretch of Boner Highway or whatever.
Yeah, we haven't
don't
seen
say
all
whatever.
Lanes.
Don't get it right and then say or whatever.
We haven't seen
said
all
it.
I don't know what it's called.
Post that on the internet, but you won't, Adam.
There's the tease.
All roads on the Boner Highway lead.
He doesn't,
to the
Bunker Boys.
sack.
He doesn't create. He doesn't create for those around him. We need everyone to be
great.
Great.
Did you see in the first 5 games of last season before they brought in James Harden? He was great.
Fair.
And then he got kicked to the side.
Fair. And then now then coming in when they needed him to hoist up shots, which is not exactly his strength. I'm hearing you.
You're right. He was a good compliment to Russell Westbrook because they were both fast, and loose guys, whatever.
Easy, Chris.
I gotta ask you guys this: does Norm Powell? Is he gonna start? Like, what is happening?
He's starting.
He's
starting.
This is for real. Cuckoo. I love it.
I'm excited for him. He's been saying for 3 media days.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm excited.
If anyone deserves the opportunity, it's Norman Powell. And I actually think it's not just about deserving it. He can thrive. This is the guy that can make up for some of the production lost by Paul George. This is the easiest, quickest solution to make up for some of that offense lost with PG now talking about stuff in Philadelphia, which I'll ask you about in a little bit here too.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I also think we're going to see some guys stepping up and replacing the defense that we lose, the steals and stuff like that. And I do like Bunker Boys. It scrolled up. So, Bunker Boys is the one who said it. Like, defense wins. And I loved the defense that we saw in the Dome last Monday. Loved it.
I mean, are you guys, because everyone seems to be higher on this team coming out of the preseason than going in.
Of course, because now we actually saw it. We saw, what I'm saying, on paper, they were like, does it work? And then all of a sudden you saw it on the floor, and the youth, the bench, not all of them are young, but the bench impressed us. I mean, the bench won 4 out of 5 games, right? Isn't that a record in the preseason? I don't know. Did we have a game tonight?
No, but they only lost 1 on a game winner in Honolulu. That doesn't count against the Golden State Warriors. So.
Exactly. They were competitive in every single matchup. They won the vast majority of them. They look good in the Dome. All right, will Wednesday night be sold out, boys? What do you think?
Oh, it better be.
I hope so.
Gosh, I hope so. First night in the Dome?
Free compasses?
Versus the Suns plus free compasses?
Like, Dodgers don't play till Friday. I mean, come on.
about the free compasses. The
You gotta get
line
your
will be
free
around.
compass.
And listen, fans, if you haven't been to the building, by all means, you have to download the Intuit Dome Plus app. You have to put your facial recognition, plug your credit card. You got to do it before you get there. Otherwise, you'll be frustrated and waiting outside. Do it now, fans.
Yeah, there was a line outside the flagship at that preseason game, and that preseason game was not sold out.
Right.
So for
Huge
sure, do
line.
that stuff before you get there.
If
Was
you
your
do it before
facial
there, you just
recognition clicking
breeze
in
through.
easily? Was it
Mine
going?
was. Yeah.
Because that's
Mine
I
did.
didn't hear many bad experiences with the facial recognition like we heard with the Usher concert, the first event they had there.
Right. No, I think the bad thing was that people just didn't know to do it. So they get there with a ticket ready to scan.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. It's way beyond that. And you're like, what? So, so you just got to do that before you get anywhere near that building. Otherwise, get to the building and do it because you have to do it before you get in the door.
Who is the under the radar guy that you saw in the preseason that you think is going to flourish this year for the Clippers?
Sky
Jones. He's great. He's great. And isn't he 6'11"?
Superman theme is John Williams, not Hans Zimmer. P.S.
Isn't Sky?
Both
Isn't
of them
Kai?
are the two icons of scoring.
Idiot. Isn't Kai Jones 6'11"? That's more height for us. High flying, great energy.
Sky Jones.
For sure, Kai Jones.
You know who
got the bad
baptized him with that
internet
nickname,
connection?
by the way? This guy right here.
Adam Osland.
Yeah,
Sky
that's right.
Jones,
The
baby.
Wizard of Osland.
I finally got one.
It's a great nickname.
I mean, I love Sky Jones. I think he'll play 10 to 15 minutes, maybe Wednesday night against Phoenix. They don't have great bigs. Some of the other guys, though, that I love, Chris Dunn. One of his nicknames is like Smoke because he gets in fights a lot and is very chippy.
Like that's fun.
He's the new Pat Bev. He is.
Oh, yeah. His middle name is
fiery.
Get the Job. Get the job done.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's not great.
I said pretty good.
Chris, get the job done.
Oh, Ray is telling us facial recognition was very fast during the last preseason game.
As is Henry Dittman's hands.
Oh, real fast. Grabby.
Busy hands. The busiest hands in podcasting.
Overall, we're feeling good heading into night one.
100%.
Based upon the preseason.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, I am. I still remember a team with no stars. I still remember teams, scrappy, hustling teams. If you have to have a team low on recognizable names and faces, which P.S., can we please just remind ourselves that none of the 4 teams in the conference finals involved players like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. It's all about young dudes. And I think if you're telling me the Clippers are going to have a team that doesn't have a bunch of stars on it, the pieces have the qualities I want them to have. They're scrappy. They go for the ball. They go up for dunks. They love defense, and they're fast. And I hear you like
everybody's sleeping on Harden, man. Well, why is everyone sleeping on Harden?
Yeah.
James
also, he did lose a ton of weight. I don't know what people are talking about. Oh, he just always looks like that. No, he doesn't. He walked into the press room, and me and Osland both went like we both gasped.
Yeah.
Hot bod. No, it wasn't like that.
James Harden. I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to leave it. Not going to finish the thoughts.
As shredded as he has in 5 years or so, which is how he put it. We'll give him that. And people are sleeping on him. For some reason, people are talking about redemption season from Harden like he wasn't good last year for the Clippers.
He was great.
Yeah.
Literally led us like the best 2-month stretch in franchise history led by James Harden. And like we saw him like have to find his footing, right? Like he comes in, we were 4-2 or something. And then we went like something horrible, like a 10-game stretch, whatever. And then he figured it out. There's no learning curve here for James Harden. This is his squad, his team, his city, his new dome.
Yeah,
dude, we're going to.
There was also a lot of lineup confusion going on. There was also a lot of Paul George saying, well, I'm the leader. Oh, just kidding. I want to be Robin. Oh, just kidding. I want to be the number 1. Or just kidding. I guess I'd be number 3. There was a lot of confusion as to what the lineups were, who the starters were. And there has been. And now there certainly isn't going to be any confusion about who the number 1 option is to have the ball in his hands in the final seconds.
And also Osland, just for the record, FTR, as the kids say, I was literally on the edge of one of those bridges in Long Beach. I was ready to plummet during that stretch when James Harden came in and we just looked horrible. And Burbank Hank was the only one who believed, and he kept me from taking the dip. He kept me sane, and he kept me honest. And he was right, by the way. He was right. James Harden, fear the beard, but also believe in the beard and trust the beard. This guy's got us. And like Hank said earlier, like it's this new NBA where like 16 teams in the West get to go to the play-in or something stupid. Like literally everybody gets to go to the playoffs unless you have to be a team tank to not to get into the play-in. And I want to avoid the play-in because it's been our Achilles heel in the past.
Oh, it's the worst. One and done tourney. The terrible. Yeah.
One and Chris Dunn. No, I don't want the play-in. But however, we're gonna be at the bare bones Highland minimum, a play-in contending team. And why is no one talking about the NBA Cup, the in-season tournament? That's the first dance that matters, boys.
That's our first shot at a banner in the new dome. That's our first shot at a banner in the new dome.
Oh. Okay. Should we hang out? Should we hang out? Should we hang up the Pacific Division champion banners? We got a fresh one last season. We had 2 during Lob City.
No, you don't
hang
up
Osland, have you been
in season cup or the chip cup, and that's it.
So at the Honey,
I don't think they should hang up the in season. We make
you would. That's a tournament win. You would totally hang that.
We make fun of the Lakers for that. We finally have a banner we can make fun of them about.
I know we make fun of them because they have so many. They have so many of the regular kind. You don't think we'd hang the in season cup if we won it?
Osland, have you been in the practice gym yet?
Yeah, I've been through all of it.
And now, okay, so in the old practice gym at the Honey practice facility, whatever the hell it was, they had the old Pacific Division banners hanging. Do you know? Did you look up? Do they have those 3 Pacific Division banners?
I just saw a bunch of TV screens, giant television screens in there, and like 8 courts. I didn't notice it if they are up, but I would say set a new standard. It's about winning a chip. It ain't the in-season tournament. That's just a way to get made fun of so people can say, oh, you finally won something, Clipper Nation. That's all it would turn into.
I think the NBA
I would buy a hat.
That you hang
I would buy
NBA
a new
Cup
era
banner.
Snapback hat that says
in-season
tournament champs. I would buy that hat.
You would host a parade.
We'll get a tattoo.
In-season tournament.
I'll get a tattoo on my left cheek.
Parade.
Buns and face.
You can put that in the B gym court or the B court, which isn't even the practice court. That's one that teams can rent out. That's like a rec league thing that they have it into a dome. That's where that could go should they end up winning it. You mentioned James Harden. We're all confident in him. How confident are you guys that Ivica Zubac is going to take that next step next to James Harden this season and average 15 and 10 or 16 and 11? He needs to. They need that from him.
I like that the range on his floater has increased by 2 or 3 feet. That gives me confidence in his ability to score better. I like that his first possession was it in the Dome or was it in Hawaii? But it may have been Hawaii because I feel like it was the first possession he had this preseason. He caught the ball in traffic in the paint and went up and dunked without dribbling it first. I liked that. To me,
why don't you talk about the hook shot, Hank? You got to talk about the hook shot he's been working on.
The big knocks on Zoo for me were his range, and that has increased, and his ability to go to the rack without dribbling. And so I like that those 2 things have improved. And so, yeah, I think he takes that next step. He also looks lean and strong. And I think he also did a lot of talking in his on media day about it being different when he plays at home and his role in the Clippers, and that he goes to the rim more and he plays in the low post more. That's where he's very comfortable. So I think if they expand his role and they let him go more, I think he could easily average double-double easily.
Yeah, he mentioned that
15-10.
He gets way more touches when he plays for Team Croatia than when he does for the Clips. And obviously we're going to give him more touches. You know, there's a lot of times when we win the jump ball and he taps it back to James Harden, that first play out of the gate is designed to get Zoo active and get Zoo a dunk. So Ty Lue knows. Lue to Zoo, that's happening this season for sure. Zubac is going to blossom into, dare I say, Chris Kaman type numbers, early Kaman numbers.
Cold soup. Oh, and SC, I'm reading your message. I just want Zoo to stop complaining like a soccer player when he doesn't get calls.
So you're going to take the guy out of Europe, but you want to take the Europe out of the guy?
Europe out of the guy. I agree with you across the board. I would like less complaining in professional basketball. And by the way, I feel like as Clippers fans, we saw that this all got out of hand with Chris Paul as a Clipper.
Yeah, and Blake.
It was like that was our culture, was griping about every single play. And so I agree with you. I want us to just play. I've always really liked the Duke thing. If you foul somebody, you put your hand up and you claim.
Kawhi don't complain, but and so it's from the top.
Also doesn't play.
You really had to do me dirty like that, didn't you, Hank? You had to do me dirty on Clipper Talk.
I'm sorry.
My God.
I'm sorry. Not on Clippers Talk after dark. Why would I do it?
The show went daily, not dirty. Why you do me dirty? Do me daily, Hank. Don't do me dirty.
Do me a favor and give me a season prediction. If I tell you Kawhi Leonard is playing 50 games for the Clippers this season, what's the record? What's the record if he plays 50?
We're a 50-win team if he plays 50. And obviously – we don't win all 50 that he plays, but the fact is we win 2 out of 3 when he does play, and we will win without him because of James Harden, like we said earlier. 100% of fit. If he plays 50 games, we are well over 500. We're a bare minimum 50-win team. If he plays 60 games, we're a 60. It's like that. Let's just say that, like, whatever amount of games he plays,
we're a 60. If he plays 60, we're a 60-win team.
All right, so we've never been a 60-win team in the history of the franchise. So maybe that's a bit tall of an order.
Oh, don't start getting realistic now, Chris Kawhi.
Oh, I know. 82-0, regardless of how many games he plays.
Irregardless.
Henry, talk some sense into this.
Well, I have already said that I think that we could be a 45-win team. I've already said that as sort of like my optimistic season hopeful. And I think if Kawhi Leonard plays 50, I think we win 50. I do.
You look at the rebuild
50.
Year when we
tough.
Traded Chris Paul to Houston.
I know it's tough. I agree with you.
And we got Pat Bev and Montrezl Harrell and
42
Sweet
wins.
Lou. And that was above 500 team. That was 42-40. And I think I'm just based on everything I've seen from Ballmer's Clippers. And then also, like, don't sleep on Ty Lue, man. Ty Lue is like one of the greatest in-game X's and O's coaches that we've seen in a generation. So I think the low end is a 42-40 season. That's the low. That's the basement. I think, just based on everything we've seen. And yes, we don't have star power, but we did. Montrezl Harrell was not a star. Neither was Sweet Lou. And he was the underground GOAT. He was not above ground GOAT. And neither was Pat Bev. And we had the ghost of DeAndre Jordan on that team, I believe. Like that team had no business being 42-40. And we all know Doc Rivers is not great at basketball coaching. Let's be honest. And he was the coach back then. And then why are we not talking about the biggest Clipper star that we haven't even mentioned? Jeff Van Gundy.
Oh, come on. You want to talk about defense? You want to talk about defense? Lead assistant coach Jeff Van Gundy, by the way.
He's the guy. Like, we've got brainiacs. We've got brainiacs running this squad. And then we've got James Harden, who is a literal his court awareness, his in-game IQ is through the roof. The passes, we've never seen passes. He's a better passer than Chris Paul, I think. So anyway, I think 42-40 is the basement, I think, and 50 is the ceiling, which is not a lot of wiggle.
I don't think realistically there's a world where we get 50 wins, but I do think realistically there's a world where we get 45 wins. I really do.
If Kawhi Leonard plays 2 seasons ago, he played 50 games. Last year, he played 60 and change. If he goes back to 50, and by the way, at media day, he's like, he's said he wanted to tick it up. He wanted to go from 50 to 60 to 70. Now, my hope, because, I believe in Santa Claus, is that we get 70, and that's including postseason games. I give a shit about the regular season. I could give a hockey shitbox about the regular season. I'm here for postseason basketball, baby.
Let me tell you, Santa doesn't exist.
Squares. It's getting pretty blue, Chris.
Sadly, if he just misses every back-to-back, he's down to 66 games right there. If he misses one end of the back-to-back, because they have 16 of them, that puts him at 66.
It's fun you're saying if he misses one half of a back-to-back, Oz. That's nice.
I'm saying
this rule,
that's built in pretty much. He ain't getting to 70 games.
Built in. No,
Adam, what about this rule, man? Like he played in back-to-backs last year. Like he had
to. And now he has swelling in his knee that is tricky, and it didn't end up working out because maybe he did play too much, and maybe trying to overcome the load management allegations wasn't such a good idea for Kawhi Leonard in the long run.
I mean, that's why we have Ballmer, right? If the NBA fines us for Kawhi missing games, like Ballmer doesn't mind. He's got that 60 minutes money. Anyway, look, Toronto Raptors did it right, and obviously Kawhi was 6 years younger, but do whatever the hell they did.
Yeah, I agree with you. Wednesday, Phoenix Suns in town. Why do you guys hate the Suns so much? Is it their fans? Is it their players? Is it Arizona?
Yes. And also, and on top of all that, it's them claiming, self-glossing themselves, we the Valley. No, you're actually not. Van Nuys, Encino, it's San Fernando Valley. You're not the Valley. Just stop it. You're the desert. It's fine. Enjoy your desertness, but you're not the Valley. But the main reason I dislike them, yes, the fans. It's one thing to feel yourself when you're suddenly good as a team. We did it when we suddenly had Blake and we were getting good. We felt ourselves, but there just was a next level Suns in 4, we'll fight your fans arrogance that was super hard to handle during that run, the Suns in 4 run. But then on top of all of that, I love that in the modern NBA, every player is the captain of their own destiny. Nobody did it weirder or lamer than Kevin Durant leaving the OKC Thunder to join the team that beat him. It just, no one did it grosser. And so I really dislike Kevin Durant. And I'm saying that as a guy who loves watching players be able to move from team to team if they want. It's not the way I got into basketball. I like team identity staying for a very long time. But all of these things come together so that I can really encapsulate it into an analysis that is, I hate the Suns. They suck.
I hate everybody in our division that isn't us too. Like,
oh, you do also. That's right.
I don't know who I hate the least. Maybe Sucktown.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, by the way, Jeremiah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Jeremiah Gonzalez brings up a good point. All that arrogance. P.S. Every team they beat was hobbled. The Suns that year they made a good run of it. Every team had multiple stars. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
That's just NBA basketball. Like,
but this was next level. They didn't play one team that had 2 stars.
The reason I hate the Suns so much, not only because we were there in 2006 when we lost in double overtime, we were in the building.
I called it too.
But every single time we play them in the playoffs, they beat us. It's like the Mavericks must have felt about us until last postseason, except for it stings more because like we finally win a round of the playoffs ever. And then the Suns take a giant crap on our parade. I also didn't like that they gave themselves a little mini championship parade when they were the Western Conference champions, like a bunch of bums. Anyway, but like they
hung their banner in a local TGI. They probably hung their banner in a local TGI Fridays.
But it's the same team. It's the same team that we win our first round ever in the playoffs ever in franchise history, and the Suns beat us the next round. We get to our first Final Four ever in franchise history, and the Suns beat us in the next round. So if it was a different team, if the Kings had beat us, if the L Word had beat us, anybody else, but it's the Suns, man. I hate the damn Suns.
They've been very fortunate catching the Clippers at their lowest points, it seems like. The 8-second violation on Sam Cassell, which is crazy. Such a clutch player. The Daniel Ewing play on the Raja Bell 3.
Raja Bell.
And then they get the Clippers without Kawhi, obviously, in 2021. Clippers still take them to 6 games, but they blow out the Clippers at Staples back then with CP3 going off in that game 6. And then 2 years ago in 2023.
The best part was Patrick Beverley, like a gentleman, pushed him in the back. I loved that. Yeah, that was great.
His last moment as a Clipper.
That was great. Pushed him in the back. You love to see it. Did you see Pat Bev throw a ball at a fan last season?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he is hot-headed.
He is. God bless him. And now he's playing in Israel, right? And dominating. He's like putting up his high school numbers, Pat Bev. Yeah, he's playing overseas. He's dominating.
He needs to be on TV, man. He needs to be a commentator.
I mean, he does his podcast. You might have to pay for it. I don't know if it's behind a paywall or whatever, but eventually he'll be there. I get all the Suns hate, though. They are the only team to have beaten the Clippers 3 times in the playoffs. Now, they're only one of 2 teams that have played them 3 times in the playoffs, I think, as well, just next to the Dallas Mavericks. But
right, 2-1, 2-1.
It's an appropriate
0-3
opponent to get opening night. And you can't lose that game to open up Intuit Dome against a team like the Phoenix Suns. It's going to feel like another playoff loss.
Yeah, and they're going to be there. These Suns fans are going to come from Phoenix and descend upon Inglewood. I really do think they will. We're going to see if this wall works, and I think it will. We're going to see if it works.
Interesting factoid about the Suns fans is that every one of them's first name is Chad, and I think that's very interesting. All Suns fans, including the gals, are named Chad. That Cheeto dude, like he's all orange, like orange skin. His name is Chad Cheeto, I guess. I don't know. But they're all named Chad, and they all drink really bad beer, like really bad beer.
The more you know about Phoenix Suns fans, the more you hate.
Take. That's good.
Here's something about our real rival. Like, I mean, one would think, like, just based on the history that we just talked about, well, the Phoenix Suns are our rival, but we all know that the L word are our true rival.
Or are they going to say our team doctor?
And the testament to how good the Clippers have been in the past decade plus is that L word fans are so stupid that they think that we're their rival. And they don't even know it's the Boston Celtics. That's how dim and dumb their fan base is. But it's also a testament, I never really thought about that, to how good we have been in the regular season versus the L word in this city, putting together a long stretch of W's. Yes, we didn't get as many banners as the New York Yankees or the Los Angeles L word, but still, we have been competitive. We have been great fun to watch. We've been must-see TV, and there's nowhere to go but up when you got no rings.
I mean, they won the regular season all-time series in the building at Figueroa, Crypto Staples Center. They won more games against the Lakers in that hallway series than the Lakers won against them in that building.
And man,
did that going for them.
The L word had a weighted table too. Like they really cooked us the first
they were up
years.
like 20-5
at
one point at least. But the Clippers, I think, are 37. They've won 37 of the last 48 games against the Lakers or something like that.
You'll love
it
to
is
see
insane.
it. All right, let me ask you guys this. Just talking about the L word, I went to the Dodger game where the Dodgers beat the Padres to advance to take on the Mets. Okay. It was a best of 5 series. It was game 5 at home. They put LeBron on the screen. They booed LeBron.
Yeah. You said that. I don't believe you.
I was there. They put him on
twice. You texted me that and I did, and I let it go. I can't believe that.
I was there and it wasn't as loud as when they booed.
You think it was the Padres booing him?
Was it just you booing him? Like,
no, I was in the building, boys,
and it was.
And
it was the whole.
Would have been huge news, though. Nobody said this.
They didn't say it because it's a media cover up. I was there.
I believe you.
Literally 20% minimum, and that's like literally conservative talk. Like 1 in 5 fans who, like, and I'm not saying I'm not saying 20% of the fans booed him, but literally, if there were 60% yay, it's LeBron, there was 40% people booing and then other people just making no noise. But there were so many boos for LeBron. It was like, and both times.
Could you hear?
Like, why are they booing this man?
Chris, could you hear any bit and piece of like what was going along with the boos? Like, could you get any bits of intel from what people were following their boos up with to figure out what they were talking about?
No, like I couldn't hear any heckles. And my own theory is that they're booing LeBron because of 2 reasons, right? So obviously his stupid son is ruining the roster currently. And so he's taking up like an actual spot that an actual basketball player should actually have. And then B, like the 5 all-stars that they got rid of because LeBron made them to get Anthony Davis for a Walt Disney Mickey Mouse ring in a soundstage in Florida. So I'm like, that's what I'm guessing they booed him. I mean, I didn't even boo him. I was just like, oh, cool, they're booing him. Sick. Like
the Bronny stuff makes sense to me. Some people are fed up with that, but he was also getting cheers at some of the preseason games too, and people were chanting, "Bronny, we want Bronny." Like that's crazy to me.
But I also think KHMST makes a really good point. Booing LeBron is a pro Kobe stance. there for sure is still a huge chunk of L Word fans. And by the way, I'm seeing a bunch of comments asking who we are. That's Chris Kawhi. I'm Burbank Hank. We're from the podcast LA ClipCast, and we're friends with Osland, and this is our second time on the show this season. I assume second of 80 to 100 times on the podcast this season.
No, I'll see you tomorrow morning, right back
here at 9 a.m. But that's a really good point. It's a pro Kobe stance. There's still a huge chunk of L Word fans that are not interested in LeBron because of Kobe, rest in peace.
And they think they've been infected with his whole regime, with Rich Paul and Clutch.
They're not
wrong. They feel like
like
they're less of the Lakers brand and more of LeBron's brand right now.
They're not wrong. They're not wrong. I feel for Bronny. I really feel bad for the situation. And as a dad, like, I get it. But wait, Chris, wait. Chris, don't you get it? Don't you get why LeBron would want his son on the team with him in the uniform? He wants him to be with him.
He's like a giant egomaniac.
But it would have been better. He's also a dad who wants to play with his kid. It would have been better to let Bronny play 4 years at a school that is not in Southern California. It would have been so much kinder to him as a man.
But he still wouldn't be ready to go in the league 4 years from now, and then LeBron's 73 years old.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's why it had to happen. He was out of time. You don't think 4 years later he might have been a difference maker at all? He's not now.
To change the topic, LeBron. I just saw Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, former Clipper great, the pride of Inglewood. Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett were podcasting or something, or clearly smoking weed and talking. Anyway, they were talking about Michael Jordan coming back as a Washington Wizard. They were talking about a 40-year-old Jordan still trash talking constantly. And guess what he kept
called him the H word.
Hose. You can't guard me, ho. He kept calling Michael Jordan at 40 years old.
Calling them ho?
Was calling Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett a ho.
Oh.
You can't guard me, ho. I'm going past you, ho.
It's the same guy who called Muggsy Bogues an effing midget, and he lost his basketball powers after that. Jordan was cutthroat. He was nasty. He didn't care.
Why not Muggsy Hogues? It's right there. Muggsy Hogues. But by the way, like I'm definitely calling every opponent. Like, what's the beauty about the Dome is that fans, if you go to home games this season, you will hear a belligerent man calling away teams ho all season long, because you can actually hear people talking. That's how crazy the
oh my gosh, the sound is. It's amazing. Chris and I said in our last episode of ClipCast, we feel sure we could carry on a conversation across the court without shouting. The sound, the acoustics are amazing. And we're going to test that, as well as, can they hear us calling them ho from the press seats? We're going to test that during the game on Wednesday.
Wednesday night, Phoenix, you a ho. Kevin Durant, you a ho.
You can call him Cupcake. You can make fun of Kendrick Perkins because he'll be on the broadcast with ESPN for all the crap he's been saying about Kawhi Leonard. But I don't know if I'd go the Michael Jordan route here. But let's talk about the Intuit Dome and that experience a little bit.
I was calling them bro, not
there
ho.
You go. You guys were there. I saw you with Dime Dropper. He was going through doing his video. He had you guys on. Like, I'm still overwhelmed, and I've been there twice.
That's
and
the exact word that I said, Adam. It's overwhelming. I've been to not every NBA arena, but I've been to many NBA arenas, and there's this common shared experience when you go to see the Utah Jazz play, when you go to see the Charlotte Hornets play, the Los Angeles L Word, the Knickerbocker Please in Madison Square Garden. I've been to a lot of NBA. Me and Hank went to the American Airlines Center, United Center, whatever it's called in Chicago. It's a shared experience. There's a similarity beyond just the hardwood. Now, I never went to the Barclays Center, and that does look different. But man, is the Intuit Dome a unique and overwhelming experience. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced basketball-wise. The closest thing is Utah Jazz, just because it's so small and steep where the Jazz play.
But that was like the movie Hoosiers. It's
like it's the opposite. It's like old-timey. It's like sepia tone.
Being in a spaceship.
And we're in a spaceship video game instead of that. And anytime the good guys score, the entire, like, every armrest has a light, and the whole thing just erupts in beautiful color. And man, if you get epileptic seizures, do not go to the Dome.
Oh no, I can't believe they don't have a warning. And
bring
apparently
a wooden spoon.
They only use 30 to 40% of the Halo board capability during the preseason game.
You throw on a Hans Zimmer soundtrack to that?
Oh, people are going to be crying.
People be dropping like flies.
It's going to be a lot. It's so amazing. And Osland, we tried to talk to you, by the way, at the end of the broadcast. We were over there with Seaman while you were wrapping up your broadcast. We tried to get your attention. But
okay, so Adam, this is what happened. You're literally hosting a radio show. And Henry's like, Adam.
That's what I was like. I was exactly like that. It's exactly what I was like.
I'm literally going, dude, he's doing his job.
Show walking into the club and just face hugging you and putting my hand to your face and pushing you out of the way to get to my microphone. I wasn't that rude. It was nothing like that.
No,
I honestly didn't see you.
You didn't see me.
I would never. And you guys saw Seaman instead. So, it's overwhelming. It's sensory overload. There's so much. Did you guys play the Mentalist game?
I got
It's amazing. It's amazing. My son and I both lost. It was yellow, by the way. Yellow
make it.
Oh my God.
Because it represents a ring at the end. It makes sense. They go with yellow at the end. I've seen it.
Do we have a nickname for the Intuit Domes? Asks Albert Renteria. Yes, the Stephen Ballmer Sports Access Center, or for short, the Ball Sack. And by the way, the Clippers have multiple times said, we don't love this. We really don't love this.
Please stop. We got a really fun cease and desist letter for our scrapbooks.
Yeah, but I say the Dome, Sweet Dome. Everybody just calls it the Dome. Obviously,
Dome is home. The shirts say Dome is home.
I mean, it's going to be called the Terror Dome at some point. Like let's just call it the Terror Dome. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Like, that's going to happen at some point.
Do you suspect, with the noise level that you observed, that when it's rocking and it's rowdy, and I expect it to happen, the roar of the crowd Wednesday night when the big play happens for the Clippers, that it will reach higher decibels than any other arena because it's built that way.
Yeah.
And if the Clippers fans bring it, it's going to, I think.
I hope that it happens Wednesday, but I'm sure it will happen in the playoffs.
Oh, for sure. And the wall is going to be a difference maker. It's going to be a difference maker. The best fans are like packed into this spot, and they're bananas and wild.
So last game at the Dome, Hank was not there, but the wall was chanting coffee brewing, and you could hear it crystal clear, like Folgers crystals. You heard the wall, coffee brewing, and he was getting hot. He had double digits. How about Jordan Miller giving us a 20-piece in our last Dome outing? Like, he was on fuego.
I'm in love with Jordan Miller, guys. I'm in love with Jordan Miller.
He's great.
I honestly think he should be playing game one. In a season like this, where you may not have championship aspirations right now, especially without Kawhi Leonard, he's turning 25 in January.
Crazy.
This is not a 22-year-old, a 19-year-old. This is someone who you drafted being an older player. I think he and Kobe Brown were the two oldest guys in that draft 2 years ago, so you could play him sooner than later, and he looks ready now. I can't say enough positive things about Jordan Miller. I know it's a difficult decision who's out of the lineup if you play him, but to me, there has to be some urgency with this. We have to see what his ceiling is. We have an idea where Amir Coffey's is. We don't know about Jordan Miller yet.
I mean, he gave us 21. I think it was the last home game. Like, he was special. He looked good. And also, like, I'm telling you guys, the home cooking is what's going to get us to that 42 minimum win season, is because we play 41 at home, and we're going to be over 500 by a lot in that building. I mean, we're going to find out Wednesday. We're going to find out how we look Wednesday, for real.
The schedule is brutal to start. We may
3
find
games
out
in 4 days at home. What WTF, Silver? WTF? 3 games in 4 days.
We look like idiots.
Home.
Literally, all we talked about was, well, when we get our own dome, at least we'll have less back-to-backs, and somehow we have more. We have more back-to-backs than we have ever had.
The only advantage is the no day games, which, like, I guess it's an advantage. I mean, Adam, do you have those?
But Norm Powell said he likes day games. Norm Powell said, I love day games.
I never liked the excuse about the day games, because if they happen so often, which is what everybody was complaining about, then you should probably be used to them by now if they're happening so frequently. So why were they not playing well during those matinee contests at home? I don't get that
It's
one.
a good point. It
can't hurt not having them. There is something to that routine, I guess.
Albert Renteria says Ballmer needs to give away some new dope Clippers merch during games. Albert, I don't know how long you've been around, but Chris and I were 20 plus years ago when we got our season tickets. The swag you used to get. I still have a fold out beach camping Clippers chair, beach towels, rolling coolers, cooler bag. I still have mine of that too.
They used to take us to Six Flags and Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh yeah, the season ticket holder party used to be at Six Flags or Knott's Berry Farm.
Yo, but like, I'll tell you something like a little off topic, but when I took my kid to the Dome on his birthday, was October 17th. We got the W. It blew my kid's mind that he could go out and shoot the rock before the game right outside the Dome. And like Clipper Nation, like bless you, because it wasn't like jerks being ball hogs. Like everybody got their shots up. People were actually given change. Like it was nice. Like if you made it, you got the ball back. I mean, unless some stupid kid got it. But regardless, like it was dope. And I don't know, like that's definitely not. What were they doing that at LA Live? No, you're like dodging bullets downtown. You're like, oh, let me step over this tent. Downtown LA is disgusting. Clean it up by the Olympics. Karen Bass or whatever your name is. Hurry up. But Mayor Butts, which you know Hank loves, has got it going on in Inglewood. And that shoot around location is the Clipper campus is spectacular.
Oh, it's so fun. It's fun
fans
to watch.
Get there early. Get there early, fans.
Oh, yeah. Go play basketball, get your gear, walk around the stadium, look at all the local high school basketball jerseys that are hanging inside the stadium. It's fantastic. And then as Chris clued me in on our last podcast, we're gonna get a free compass from Papa Ballmer at the game, a Clippers compass.
Uncle Steve giving us free compasses Wednesday night to remind you the longitude and latitude location of the Dome, of the Terra Dome.
Like finally leaning into the theme of what a Clipper ship is, what it means to be a Clipper. It's quite the oversight for a long period of time. I know they used to have the sailor mascot back in the day with San Diego, but pretty much since then, they haven't really talked about what it means to be a Clipper. And now we get this crazy wave intro at the half.
It's amazing. That's amazing.
So
yeah.
It's better than IMAX. It's better than anything you've ever seen. Like there's nothing else like it.
Yeah, the closest thing is like the Sphere in Vegas. Like that's the only thing that beats it visually.
When I sat down under it, they just had a still wallpaper up on it, and I got dizzy from looking at it. It's not a bit. Like I sat there, and Chris was trying to talk to me, and I was like, I just need a minute to kind of get my bearings because it's incredible. It's really incredible.
There. The effect is there. You're getting a little
sure of it.
Dramamine. Somebody
I said I used the word jarring, and that sounds negative.
No.
But it is truly jarring. Like you're inside of a jar from the future. Like when I was probed by aliens as a child in New Mexico, very similar situation.
Things are making sense all of a sudden.
And by the way, Bunka Boys, we hung out in the wall during that first preseason game. It's such a great vibe over there, but for sure, like we'll roam over there for sure during Wednesday's game. It's so great over there at the wall and the supporter section. And
I actually think the media section is better.
Yeah, it's
like
much better.
Because like last game, I like I said, I took my kid, whatever. I took my wife, and I got us seats right next to the media section. So I'm looking over at the media section, and the new media section, all of the Clippers cub reporters or beat reporters or whatever you want to call them, all the media guys are literally hanging out, standing, chatting, discussing. Like there's this cool cohesive thing that's happening. Like it's great to see Bleacher Report and ESPN and LA Times and the OC Register all hanging out and literally like talking Clipper talk. You couldn't do that where we used to play, could. And so they're like literally standing, snacks. I'm going to blow Hank's mind.
Oh, good.
Because you didn't see this when you went to game one. Media hospitality suite, my friend. Oh, what, buddy? Oh,
I don't think I've seen this. What is this?
Oh, Osland Media Hospitality Suite. You don't have to go down the steps.
You're talking about where we went and got snack. We went there. We went and got our dinner there.
Oh no, right close to the media section, like right next to the media section. A media hospitality suite, my friends. Drinks, snacks, bathroom, yes.
Now,
Fixtures.
are you two allowed in there? Is that going to work? Or
I think
media
up until now,
media.
I think I was until now. Now I think
the red rope's back up.
I think the red rope's back up. But I didn't know about it, and I was like, wait a second. I'm reading the fine print in the email they send out. I was like, and for your convenience, next to the media section is the media hospitality suite. I really was a chin scratch. I was like, what? And also I found a shortcut, by the way, to like the media like room, whatever, in the war room.
Oh, you found the new secret tunnel in this arena, huh?
Yeah. So I could show you guys that as well on Wednesday night.
Also, can we please just agree that "Give No Quarter" was a trash slogan?
I almost wore the "Give No Quarter" t-shirt. I almost wore the "Give No Quarter."
Give no quarter.
Like, how are you supposed to play video games?
Everyone will get that, buddy.
On the
they had a quarter ready to go.
Well, I will give a quarter.
Two-Face over here with that quarter. On the negative note, I do want to ask you guys about this quote from Paul George. I haven't confirmed it yet, but multiple outlets say this is the quote. I went through Podcast P a little bit earlier. I didn't have a chance to go through the entire thing. I don't usually do that anymore.
Who can blame you?
I was trying to find the actual snippet so I could put it up and compare. The quote apparently is this from Paul George earlier today on Podcast P. I've been on teams where the culture just wasn't there. And when that happens, no matter how much talent you have, it doesn't click.
Let's talk about Indiana.
He was, my understanding was that was taken out of context with him talking about Indiana.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
That's what I tweeted earlier, but I wasn't sure.
If you're the max player, you're responsible for the culture. Period.
You are the culture.
Period.
And also, guys, like, I know we didn't win the ring, but we literally got to our first Western Conference Finals. Like, that was part of the things to tick off, you know? So he did tick off a thing, you know? Like, well, the winning, it's like we're all spoiled from these winning seasons. Like, you're too young. Y'all too young. Hank and I were there for the bottom of the barrel, the basement.
Worst.
And honestly, like, and we were looking at silver linings, like, hey, we beat the champs. You know, we went on a 6-game skid, but we beat the champs. Or, hey, I asked my ticket rep for 2 free tickets and he gave me 2 free rows. Like, there were pluses. You know what I mean? Like, I got to meet my wife at a game because it was just her and I at the game that night, you know? So there were pluses, but we're getting spoiled.
She walked a third of the way around the stadium because there was no one in the seats to stop her from walking a third of the way around the stadium. She saw you on Jumbotron and fell in love with you again.
She saw me on Jumbotron. She found me in the seats because I had my red shirt off, waving it like a beacon, trying to locate a wife. But here's the thing. Every season, there's 29 teams that don't win. And every season, there's 29 fan bases that are bitching and moaning and crying into their Bud Lights. Like, get over it, bro. Like, get over. There's one winner. It's the Boston Celtics 9 times out of 10. And then it's either the Boston Celtics or the stupid L word. So, like, if you're not fans of those two teams, relax. Just relax. Like,
I understand.
I think the Warriors are number 3, and they didn't really start winning until 10 years ago. Like, it's the Bulls who only had that 90s blip, and the Warriors, that's it. Like literally, it will not take very much. Yeah, the Spurs. It will take very little to all of a sudden be in the top 5 teams all time when it comes to championships. It doesn't take that much because there's only been 2 teams that have been dominant in the history of the league.
Now, finally, I want to ask you this. It's a great rant. But does this team remind you of some of those beloved Clippers teams from the past that overachieved and that were easier to root for?
Too early to say that. I sure hope that.
Did they have the makings?
Yes. Yeah, I think they do because they have defense and they got dunking and they got fire. And
we got a bunch of scrubs you never heard of. So yeah, we've got
got the pieces to do it.
Of the Luke Kennard led comeback Clippers. Like, but no, I mean, like I said about the Pat Bev, Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams season, right? So it's like the beauty of being a Clipper is you are in the greatest location, but you have no spotlight. So like the other team gets all the headlines, gets all the media attention, gets all the clicks. So you will have the location, like that you know, there's Miami and there's LA. Those are the top two, and there's nobody else. And so you get the beauty of the Miami location and the L Words location, but now you have the best dome, you have the best place to play basketball in all of professional sports. And you don't have the intense spotlights. Street lights over spotlights is absolutely accurate. Like the lights don't shine quite as bright on Prairie. Okay. So like we're good. The guys can play relaxed here. There's no relaxing when you're playing on 12th and Figueroa. You can relax and just play basketball. James Harden's going to lead this team to I don't know about the promised land, but this team is a winning basketball team that could definitely go places. And shelf Kawhi, give us a 500 season and until Kawhi is 100% or damn close. We don't want hobbled Kawhi.
I also think the makings of building an NBA team is to have a bunch of young pieces that are overachievers for small paychecks. And then you add big stars to them. And the bummer is that Kawhi Leonard his body has been a disappointment, not just to Clippers fans and the Clippers team, but to himself. But you have to like having a bunch of inexpensive guys on the payroll with a lot of heart. And then we're just going to see how the skill sets keep up with that. I do think it's going to be very interesting to see how Zubac handles the pressure. Because a lot is on his shoulders.
He's the longest tenured Clipper.
A lot is on his shoulders. He needs to take a step forward. So if he doesn't,
he has every season.
Early, Adam, if he doesn't, you're asking, will he take this big step forward? Will he be a 15-10 guy? Will he be a 20-10 guy? He needs to be. He needs to be. He needs to be more than a 10-10 guy. He needs.
I think the biggest point jump is going to be Norm Powell getting into the starting position. I think there's your offense right there. And Zoo just is a rim protector. And I like Zoo because he's a traditional center. And if you need something else, then obviously you bring in my guy Sky Jones. But like, yes, Zoo. I've seen Zoo get better every single year. Like I've seen Zoo get better every single year. Why in God's name would all of a sudden he go backwards? It just doesn't make any sense.
No, I don't think he'll go backwards.
No, I know that.
He needs to make a big step. But the beauty of that,
I just disagree. I don't think he needs to make a big step. I just think he needs to continue the forward momentum. And Norm Powell will pick up the slack.
He doesn't need to make a new step in his skill set because what we're hearing him say is that he has this skill set that we just haven't utilized. So if he really is great in the low post, if he really can get touches and go up with the ball and he just hasn't been doing it with the Clippers, that could be very exciting.
I think in the same way that the Clippers are a sleeping giant in this city, Big Zoo, a sleeping giant because of his skill set that really hasn't been explored. It hasn't been exploited over the years. He's very skilled. He can go with the right-handed hooks, the left-handed hooks. He just got to get to his spots and get comfortable. And they actually have to have confidence in him.
100%. If each of Zubac's game speaks for itself. Now, in the post-game press conference, he needs an interpreter or something because it is a dial tone. Like it's literally.
It is true. He does do that a lot. English is not his monotone, to be fair.
It's monotone, but he gives articulate ansers.
Oh, here's the thing, Adam.
As the pod,
he just wants to make sure that parks his car in the structure. He really does just all the way through. But
now that you hear it, you won't unhear it, Adam.
You can't unhear it.
You've heard it.
It's a bummer. And by the way, I was not happy. Chris pointed it out, and now you're not going to be happy we did.
I can't unhear it. All I care about is him dunking on Nurkic or Mason Plumlee on Wednesday night or Bol if any of those guys try to meet him at the rim, and I will be more than happy. Give me 15-10, Zoo.
Adam, who's going to catch the most lobs this year? Because it ain't Zoo. Zoo's not a lob catcher. He really isn't. I love the guy. He's a great in-game dunker, but he doesn't catch
Derrick Jones lobs. Jr. will tell you it's Derrick Jones Jr.
Well, who does Adam Oslin tell me? Who's catching the most lobs this year?
I mean, Kai's on a two-way, and I don't expect him to play heavy enough minutes to catch enough lobs. It might be Derrick Jones Jr. airplane mode. That makes sense to me. Just throw it up and he'll go get it. And God help anybody that tries to jump with him is basically what he said at Media Day or recently. He has that reputation. He's a dunk contest champion and he's starting. So he's going to get heavy enough minutes to catch enough of those. But He's also a guy that I think averaged like 8 points per game or something like that last season, just like Terrence Mann. So maybe that goes up a little bit. He gets a few more lobs. At least we do have a more exciting, explosive team that is running, that is making those hit-ahead passes, advanced passes from James Harden, trying to find guys in transition for easy buckets. Like, that's fun. You play defense, and then you get out and run. Both those things Clipper Nation will embrace. That is something they will love this season.
Oh, we're going to light up the dome. We're going to light up the dome with the fast-paced. God forbid we go back to the knuckleheads running and gunning. Obviously, those guys were literal teenagers. So they were just having the time of their lives playing professional basketball. But that was the fast-paced running gun Clippers that if we could get just a little taste of that, I thought they were even better. Obviously, Lob City is the go-to answer of the most fun team to watch. But man, there was something about that Darius Miles, Quentin Richardson, EB, Lamar Odom. Like Lamar Odom, when he caught it in the air, back up. Like I know Crawford.
Against Sacktown.
Yes, dude. Like that, as great as Lob City was, and they got as close as you're going to get to the knucklehead year. It was only just really 1 year that they lit him up like that. And then stupid Sterling broke him up for Andre Miller or whatever. But like, if we can get anywhere near that, 75% of that juice, we're golden.
And by the way, talking about Clippers giveaways, we first saw that team play because I bought new tires for my car, and for every tire you bought at the tire center,
you got a seat in the 300s
ticket in the 300s.
You know what is so fun? Speaking of 300s,
and so we took our girlfriends, and the girlfriends are not around anymore, but the Clippers are still in our lives,
and so are we. So
in each other's lives.
The best part of going to the dome is like, where are you sitting? Oh, I'm in the 300s. So there is no 300s. There are no 200s. There's no premier section. There's no
bad
100s.
seats.
And you know, Adam, we went to the worst seat in the stadium.
Back row.
Great.
It is.
Back row is a great.
You can see
basketball.
Perfectly well. It's great.
You're close.
Yeah, they say seat 20 at Intuit Dome versus crypto is 45 feet closer or something like that. Everything is angled. I guess as much as you can angle something before you get in trouble, it's almost like a baseball stadium where things are angular to that degree when you get up high. The wall is really on a slope there, but that's why you have the guardrails.
That's sketchy walking down those seats at the wall. That's sketchy. It's pretty great.
Dude, that is that like that black wall that is like perpendicular. You know what I'm saying? Because the wall just goes straight up, and then there's this black wall and like there's a secret little door, and you're like, what am I even looking at? That's part of the jarring, overwhelming experience of going to a Clippers game. And obviously, eventually, we're going to get used to it. But the beautiful thing about the Vertigo Dome is that when are we going to get used to it? I don't know.
I don't know, buddy.
I
don't know.
10 years, 20 years. I don't know. We'll be there.
As long as the players get used to the court and knocking them down early, because I was a little bit annoyed that Dallas had the first made basket there, but that was preseason. Regular season Wednesday night, the Clippers got to have that first made basket at Intuit Dome. Maybe a lob to Derrick Jones Jr. start things off right. They are the longest running Clippers podcast duo and just podcast in general. They are the guys ever.
I honestly think like I'm the longest running basketball podcaster in Los Angeles ? Like I don't
interesting. Yeah.
I started in 2012. So like, you know, like that was pretty ground floor of podcasting. And I haven't stopped. We have not stopped.
You beat the Kamenetsky brothers. Kamenetsky brothers.
Yeah.
Those are
I just don't know enough about L Word podcast, nor do I care. But yes, we did coin the term podcast. When we started, it was called the Old Time Radio Hour. And then we did a ClipCast. But yeah, I named it Clippers Podcast. I named it ClipCast because it was a Clippers podcast. ClipCast, because Pers Pod I thought was garbage.
Oh, it worked. People love it. They're in here talking about it. They'll be listening to your next episode. You got a post game coming up after the game on Wednesday?
Yeah, the episode will drop Thursday morning, but I'm an actor, so that's like afternoon, you know, like 12:30 in the afternoon. So Thursday morning, it'll be up first thing.
They are Chris Wylde and Henry Hank Dittman. They have formed the ClipCast, and it ain't going anywhere. So people get ready all season long for this. Starting on Wednesday night, Clippers taking on the Phoenix Suns. Tip off at 7. Thanks to you guys for coming on once again here on Clippers Talk. We'll do it again soon. I think the live enjoyed it. So love you
Oh,
guys.
Oz, thanks for having us, man. Check us out at LA ClipCast. Follow us, listen to our podcast, all that
Let's go,
jazz.
Clips.
We got TV shows and movies on Netflix. We'll talk about them next time.
Let's go,
For the ClipCast, guys. I'm Adam Oslin. This has been another edition of Clippers Talk Live. Talk to you guys tomorrow.